Hello and welcome to this week's Women's Football Chat, focusing on everything in the third and fourth tiers of women's football in England. My name is Chris Gadsby. I'm here every Thursday at 6 p.m, bringing you the very latest from the FA Women's National League. And the season is finally underway. We had our first round of fixtures, almost every team getting their first game under their belt. Then last Sunday we had some big results, some good results for promoted sides and some not good results for them as well. But we're going to look at all of that in this week's show. What we're going to do though, as we always do on the Women's Football Chat, is start with the news. And there is a lot of news to get through. Some of it is regarding this weekend, so we'll come through to that as we go through the show. But we're going to start up in the north with Newcastle. Newcastle women have joined the men's side now. They're fully integrated, which is great for Newcastle women. Of course, they got 20,000 to their game last season, to one of their games last season. That was at St James's Park. And they've now fully joined the men's side, which is great for the women's side, and hopefully will help to build women's football even further in the northeast. You remember we spoke a couple of weeks ago to Gemma Lancaster of Merseyrail, saying how the northwest is kind of becoming a bit of a powerhouse in women's football. Hopefully this will do wonders in the northeast as well. Attendances over the weekend, they were up as a general rule, which is great. Kind of probably the Lionesses' effect of that as well. Biggest attendance of the weekend coming to Lincoln City. 1,003 watched their game against Doncaster Rovers Bells at the LNER Stadium, or what I would call Sincil Bank, the Lincoln City men's stadium. So it is showing here that we had the Newcastle last year, Forest and Derby swapping many thousands when they were at the men's stadium. If you do get these women's fixtures at these big stadiums where they're easily accessible, because obviously the men's stadiums, as a general rule, are on good transport links and all the rest of it, people will come. People will come. So it does seem to be going on the up and up. First goal this season went to Wem Town. Kim Bebbington, 1 minute and 20 seconds into their game on Sunday. That was the first goal of the FA Women's National League this season. That's the good news. Unfortunately, that means that we have some bad news coming in as well. So what I'll do, I'll start with the games for Hounslow and for Maidenhead. It's not looking too good for them. All their games until September have been postponed. The reason for this is player registration, pretty much. So Hounslow at the moment, if you go on the full-time website, only have 3 registered players. Maidenhead have 12 registered players. And their games are off for a few weeks just to try and give them a bit of help. But it does mean, of course, they're going to be 3 or 4 games behind, because coming up, you'll see later in the show next week, we have our first lot of midweek fixtures as well. So there is plenty of football coming up in the next 7 to 10 days. But it means that these sides, they're going to be 3 games back before they've even started. And it is going to mean a lot of catch up as well. That's if they can start on the 4th. They've got games on the 4th. Then it's the determining round of the Cup on the 11th. We'll see what happens in the coming weeks. So that's for Hounslow and for Maidenhead. Another bit of kind of troubling news is with Gillingham at the moment. Gillingham women, they need some backing, and they need it urgently. Had a statement that went out last Thursday, of course, after I recorded last week's show. So from owner and chairman Josh Oldham, who says that he's come to the decision to step down as owner and chairman of Gillingham Women Football Club at the end of this month. So they're now looking for an external person or party to take over all ownership responsibilities of the football club. If a new owner is not found in the coming weeks, I fear for the club's existence going forward. In 2020, Gillingham Football Club decided to no longer fund and support the women's section. So Josh was faced with a situation where if he did not take on the sole responsibility for the club, it would have disbanded. And he had his intentions were to stabilise the team on and off the field to make it an attractive proposition for somebody going forward following one of the most successful seasons in the club's 27-year history. But both for personal and financial reasons, he's taken the club as far as he can and he can no longer provide the time and the funding. He's therefore released the statement in the hope that new parties come forward to continue the work of the players and staff and build on the successes of last season. Finally, this is a special football club proud to represent Kent in the third tier of the women's game, one league below the professional Barclays Championship. Accompany this with the increasing attention on the women's game, which has been further driven by the success of the Lionesses this summer. He feels it's an exciting project for the right person and party to take forward. And then there's his contact information on there as well. I've kind of skim read that statement. There is more to it, but that is on Gillingham Women's Twitter account, which is at Gills Women FC. So if you want to go and have a further read of the statement, it is on there for you. Finally, one piece of kind of good wishes from myself here and probably everyone listening as well. In Division 1 South East, the game between Actonians and Cheshire was abandoned due to a neck injury to Molly O'Reilly in the 68th minute. 3-1 at the time to Actonians, but that game was abandoned. We, of course, wish Molly a speedy recovery and all the best in her recovery. And there seem to have been too many more updates since that, other than the tweet she put out later on that day. So I hope she's doing okay. Assume, because there is a precedent for this, that the game will just be replayed 68 minutes in, but with it being the opening day of the season, there is time to get that game replayed again. And given that last year we had abandonments later on in the season and in the particular game, and they were played again, I suspect that will get played at a later date, but we'll have to wait and see exactly when that is. Right, that's the news from this week. I said there was a lot as we were expecting from the first week of the season. So let's, without further ado, get straight down into the results from the opening week of the season. We'll start in the Northern Premier Division. Boldmere St Michael's 1, Huddersfield Town 7. Difficult start to life for Boldmere St Michael's. Double hat-tricks for Huddersfield Town. Kate Mallin, 3rd minute, 45th minute and 60th minute. Laura Elford, 22nd, 68th and 88th. And Brittany Sanderson, 83rd minute, the 7 goals for Huddersfield. Boldmere St Michael's just with 1. Nia Edwards in the 55th minute, giving them their first goal in Tier 3. But a 7-1 defeat for Boldmere St Michael's. Thrilling game at Derby. Derby County 2, Burnley 3. Really nip and tuck game this one. So Derby took the lead. Amy Sims in the 29th minute. It was 1-0 at half time. Ellie May equalised for Burnley in the 51st minute to make it 1-1 before Amy Sims got her second of the game to make it 2-1 to Derby. Evie Priestley, 76th minute, tied it up again 2-2 as we head into added time at the end of the second half. And then Dominique Cooper in the 97th minute, 7th minute of added time, put Burnley ahead and they take the 3 points over Derby by 3-2. No goals, of course, between Fylde and Brighouse Town. A 0-0 game there. No sendings off or anything really to note from that game. But great start for Liverpool Feds. A 1-1 draw with Wolverhampton Wanderers. Abby Pope in the 69th minute getting Liverpool Feds' goal. Amber Hughes getting the goal for Wolverhampton Wanderers. But they're pegged back on the opening day of the season by newly promoted Liverpool Feds. Stoke City won away at Loughborough Lightning by 3-0. Rosie Axton, Cara Jones and Beth Roberts getting the goals for Stoke City. That, of course, came after the WSL friendly between West Ham and Liverpool. And Nottingham Forest, 6 goals from 6 different scorers against West Bromwich Albion to win by 6-0 away from home. On the opening day of the season, Charlotte Steggall's 41st minute gave Forest the lead. And then it was in the second half, really. Charlotte Greengrass, 52nd minute. Jana Mitchell, 56th minute. The same minute she came on to the field as well. Rebecca Anderson, 69th minute. May Moncaster, 76th. And Yasmin Mosby in the 83rd minute gave Forest a 6-0 victory. We spoke at the end of last season, you'll remember, about how goal scoring seems to be the problem for Forest. Lower goals scored than anyone in the top 7 of the Northern Premier Division last season. And 6 goals from 6 different scorers. Maybe they're on their way to fixing that this season. What that means for the table then is Huddersfield Town are at the top with a 6-goal difference. Same as Nottingham Forest, but of course Huddersfield Town scored 7. So Huddersfield Town first, Forest second, Stoke City third and Burnley fourth. They're the teams that won. Liverpool Feds, then Wolverhampton Wanderers, Brighouse Town and AFC Fylde all drew. So they take up 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. Then Derby County in 9th. Loughborough Lightning 10th. Bournemouth St Michael's 11th. And West Bromwich Albion rounding off the table in 12th. Southern Premier Division then, we'll have a look. Billericay Town 1, London Bees 2. Billericay Town losing their opening game of the season against London Bees by 2-1. Holly Turner with the goal for Billericay Town in the second half, but Courtney Ward-Chambers had put London Bees in front in the first half. Nikita Winnett and the 69th minute gave them the 2-1 victory. Cheltenham Town, though, after their promotion from Division 1 South West, they won their opening game of the season against Plymouth Argyle, a 3-1 victory, despite going behind in this one. Charlotte Whitmore, 37th minute, put Plymouth ahead. Jade Grove in the 48th minute got a goal back for Cheltenham, and then Izzy Cook got another goal for Cheltenham as well. Only 2 goals have been recorded on the system, but 3 goals have been put on, so there's an own goal stroke penalty in there somewhere for Cheltenham. Crawley Wasps 1, Milton Keynes Dons 6, a big victory for Milton Keynes Dons on the opening day of the season. 2 for Molly Cooper, 2 for Nicole Pepper, Lucy Wood and Gemma Biggerdike getting the goals for Milton Keynes Dons. Crawley Wasps just getting 1, Natasha Stevens 15 minutes from the end. Result of the day, arguably, in the Southern Premier Division, Ipswich Town losing by 3-0 at home to Portsmouth. 1 for Danielle Lane and 2 for Sophie Quirk, giving Portsmouth a 3-0 victory against Ipswich. We'll have to monitor that closely over the coming weeks. Ipswich, of course, really went toe-to-toe with Southampton for a lot of last season, but losing on the opening day of the season to Portsmouth. Oxford United 2, Bridgewater United 0. Goals to Oxford United coming to Reva Castley and Naomi Cole. And then Watford start life in the third tier with a 3-2 victory over Gillingham, taking the lead thanks to Helen Ward in the 18th minute. But then Gillingham pegging them back quickly, 21st minute, Georgia Griffin. And then Gillingham take the lead 2-1, Madison Chamonix Ferrand on the 45th minute, but they go in level. Bianca Baptiste in the second minute of added time at the end of the first half made it 2-2. And then Andrea Gorgiou, 75th minute, gave Watford the win. Well, that means in the Southern Premier Division, Milton Keynes Dons at the top. Portsmouth 2nd, Cheltenham Town 3rd, Oxford United 4th, Watford 5th and London Bees 6th. They're the sides that won. Gillingham 7th, Billericay Town 8th, Plymouth Argyle 9th, Bridgewater United 10th, Ipswich Town 11th and Crawley Wasps 12th, the sides that lost. Point to note for anyone watching the video version on YouTube, the arrows for positions gained and lost, I'm going to start doing those after the determining round of the Cup, because particularly early season, as you know, Ipswich Town, for example, they're in 11th at the moment in that table. They could win their next game 9-0 and end up first if other results go their way, and you end up just with everybody moving 8, 9, 10 places. So once we get to the determining round of the Cup, that'll be kind of 4 games played for the majority of teams, and then we'll start to see those early patterns emerging, and I'll put the arrows on. Obviously, if you're listening to the audio version, I will just read out the tables. Division 1 North then. Bradford City 1, Middlesbrough 2. Middlesbrough, of course, relegated from Tier 3 last season. And they get to winning ways to start with. Abby Harland and Eve Marshall with their goals. Shinna Harris getting the goal for Bradford City. Barnsley, 4-0 winners away at Chorley. I mean, a red card for Ellie Clearly for Chorley in the first half did make it easy, apart from Tavia Miles also getting a red card in the same minute. So 10 men for each team. Amy Lee Barringham-Beck, Brooke Marsden, Jodie Mikalska and Alana Millard getting all 4 goals for Barnsley. Leeds United 1, Hull City 0. Again, a game where both teams finished with 10 players. Only goal of the game, Olivia Smart in the 17th minute. Merseyrail lost 4-1 to Newcastle as they start life in Tier 4. Merseyrail's goal came to Leah Collins there, but Newcastle, 2 for Ellie Dobson, 1 for Georgia Gibson and 1 for Lauren Robson meant they comfortably got past Merseyrail. York City, though, they started with a draw. Felicity Jones getting their goal. Bianca Owens getting the 1 goal for Norton and Stockton Ancients as York City draw 1-1 away from home. And 0-0 between Stockport County and Durham Sestra. What that means for the table: Barnsley top it, Newcastle second, Middlesbrough third and Leeds United fourth are the teams that won. Norton, Stockton Ancients, York City, Durham Sestra, Stockport County all drew. Bradford City, Hull City, Merseyrail and Chorley are the bottom 4. Division 1 Midlands then, Leaford Athletic 4, Leek Town 2. Goals for Leaford Athletic coming to Neve Fallon in the 30th minute, Daisy May Clements in the 40th, Samantha Baker in the 49th and Catherine Pagan in the 75th. Goals for Leek Town, 2 for Chantel Gallagher. And then a thriller at the LNER Stadium, as I said, Lincoln City 3, Doncaster Rovers 4. Lincoln City, an early quick-fire double, Chantel Robinson 7th minute and Jess Razoo in the 13th minute. Put them 2-0 up. Sophie Brown gets 1 back for Doncaster. Jess Andrew gets 2 from the penalty spot. Leah Hardy gets another for Lincoln. It's 3-3 going into stoppage time. And then Helena Esser in the 4th minute of added time puts Doncaster in front, and they take the 3 points in front of 1,000 fans at the LNER Stadium in Lincoln. Northampton Town 1, Wem Town 4. Goals for Wem Town. Kim Bebbington, as I said earlier, first goal of the FAWNL season. She got a second as well. Elise Gindra and Kirsty Hunt getting the other goals for Wem Town. Bianca Lutman in the 28th minute, the goal for Northampton. Sheffield beat Stourbridge by 2-0. Matilda Hallis Potts getting both for Sheffield, 22nd and 58th minute. Biggest result of the weekend, though, came to Solihull Moors, who beat Long Eaton United by 9-0. 4 goals for Tiana Russell Cartwright, 2 for Lindsay Ross Baker, 1 for Eva Rogers, Jodie Price and Rebecca Knight. Put Solihull well on top against Long Eaton United. And finally in Division 1 Midlands, a 2-0 victory for Sporting Cowser at home to Peterborough United. 2 goals in the final half an hour. Lucy Taylor 68th minute and Rebecca Hall 76th minute gave them the 3 points. In Division 1 Midlands table then, 6 wins, 6 defeats. Solihull Moors first, Wem Town, Leaford Athletic, Sheffield, Sporting Cowser and Doncaster Rovers Bells all won. Lincoln City, Leek Town, Peterborough United, Stourbridge, Northampton Town and Long Eaton United at the foot of the table. Division 1 South East then, AFC Wimbledon 0, #United 0. 2 sides that were strong last season play out a 0-0 draw at the start of this one. Actonians against Chesham United abandoned, as we've previously said. on the 68-minute mark. Cambridge City beat Queen's Park Rangers by 4-2. A hat-trick for Grace Stanley and one for Isabel Simmons gave Cambridge City their 4 goals. Alice Kerr and Amelia Parsons both coming off the substitutes bench and scoring for Queen's Park Rangers. Cambridge United women lost by 4-1 at home to Norwich City. Francesca Partridge getting the goal for Cambridge United, but a hat-trick for Natasha Snelling and one for Ellie Smith gave Norwich City the 4-1 win. Hounslow against Ashford Town, again, as I've previously mentioned, postponed because Hounslow haven't got enough registered players at the moment. And finally, in Division 1 South East, Wyndham Town 1, London Seaward 2. Brooklyn Chill Ferris getting the goal for Wyndham Town, but Maisie Cannon and Catherine Long put London Seaward past them and gave London Seaward the victory. In the table then, we've got Norwich City, Cambridge City and London Seaward. They're the top 3 after winning. AFC Wimbledon and Hashtag United are 4th and 5th after their draw. Then you've got Actonians, Ashford, Chesham and Hounslow who haven't yet played. Wyndham Town, Queen's Park Rangers and Cambridge United, the bottom 3 after opening day defeats. Finally then, we go to Division 1 South West. AFC Bournemouth 3, AFC St Austell 0. 21st minute Shannon Albury, 32nd minute Molly Clark and 43rd minute Helen Blezard getting the 3 goals and 3 points for Bournemouth. Cardiff City rampant in their first game in Tier 4, a 7-1 victory over Portishead. Chloe Lloyd opening the scoring from the penalty spot in the 2nd minute. A hat-trick for Ellie Sargent, 2 for Corey Williams and 1 for Ingrid Adland as well. 7 goals for Cardiff City, just 1 to Portishead, Tamsin Haywood in the 18th minute. Exeter City also rampant, a 7-0 victory over Keynsham Town. But it's worth saying in this as well, Keynsham Town started the game with 10. They only had 10 players, no substitutes as well. So Exeter City 7-0 winners in that one. Hat-trick for Sarah Stacey, a brace for Zoe Watkins, Jessica Sandland and Stephanie Beck as well. 7-0 over Keynsham. Hopefully Keynsham can get more players and be able to field a bit of a stronger side in their next game, because if they are struggling for players as that suggests, it could be a long season for Keynsham. Southampton women winning away by 1-0 to Larkhall Athletic. Sean Wiley, late goal this one, 88th minute, giving them the 1-0 victory. Maidenhead against Moneyfield postponed again, as I previously mentioned. It's the final fixture of the opening day. Chelsea 3, Swindon Town 1. Natasha Wilde in the 12th minute, Amber Howden in the 25th minute, Gemma Simmons in the 40th minute for Chelsea. 36th minute, Helena Diaz-Butcher for Swindon Town. So all the goals there done in the first half. What it means for the table then, Exeter City top with their goal difference of 7. Cardiff City 2nd, Bournemouth 3rd, Chelsea 4th and Southampton women 5th, the teams that played. Maidenhead and Moneyfields in the mid-table having not yet kicked a ball. Larkhall Athletic, Swindon Town, AFC St Austell, Portishead and Keynsham Town finish off the South West table. Right, those are all of the results and the opening day tables from the 6 divisions in the F8 Women's National League. What we're going to do now, we're going to round off this week's show with looking at the fixtures. And there are plenty of them because, as I said, there's midweek as well. We'll start in the north. Brighouse Town against Boldmere St Michael's. Burnley against Stoke City. Derby County against Liverpool Feds. Huddersfield Town against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Nottingham Forest against AFC Fylde. And West Bromwich Albion against Loughborough Lightning. Those are the games that are taking place on Sunday. So Huddersfield Town against Wolves. That'll be another tough fixture. 2 of the teams that were there and thereabouts last season. Forest against Fylde, another one. Teams that were there and thereabout last season. Derby County, where we're looking to bounce back from that opening day defeat against Liverpool Feds. But we know Liverpool Feds, they beat Forest in the determining round last year and they've drawn with Wolves this year. They could surprise quite a few people this season. Then in the week, on Tuesday, Bournemouth St Michael's against West Bromwich Albion, Stoke City against Wolverhampton Wanderers, and on Wednesday, AFC Fylde against Burnley. There's also some fixtures on Thursday coming up, but of course with this going out at 6 p.m. and the game starting at 7:45, they're going to be covered in next week's show. Southern Premier Division then on Sunday, we've got Bridgewater United against Watford, Cheltenham Town against Billericay Town, Ipswich Town against Gillingham, London Bees take on Crawley Wasps, Portsmouth against Milton Keynes Dons, and Plymouth Argyle against Oxford United. So, Milton Keynes Dons, big first day victory, but Portsmouth again. So that's the top two, albeit only after one game, coming up against each other. Ipswich Town will really want to bounce back against Gillingham. And how will Bridgewater United fare at home to Watford? Some interesting fixtures there. We'll have to see how that goes. In the week, Tuesday, Crawley Wasps against Gillingham, Oxford United against London Bees. Then on Wednesday, Billericay Town against Ipswich Town, Bridgewater United against Plymouth Argyle, and Milton Keynes Dons against Cheltenham Town. Division 1 Midlands, Long Eaton United against Leaford Athletic, Sheffield against Solihull Moors, Stourbridge against Lincoln City, Wem Town against Peterborough United, and at 3 p.m, Leek Town against Northampton Town. So only 5 games taking place on Sunday. Stourbridge against Lincoln City, that'll be a good one for Stourbridge against one of the top teams from last season. Solihull Moors against Sheffield, 2 teams that won on opening day, but Solihull Moors, of course, will be bound by confidence. In the week then, Doncaster Rovers Bells against Sheffield and Leek Town against Long Eaton United are on Tuesday. Leaford Athletic against Northampton Town, Peterborough United against Lincoln City, and Sporting Cowser against Stourbridge are all on Wednesday. So fixtures coming thick and fast. Division 1 North, Barnsley against Leeds United, Hull City against Norton Stockton Ancients, Merseyrail against Durham Sestra, Middlesbrough against Chorley, Newcastle United take on Stockport County, and York City face Bradford City. So Barnsley against Leeds, 2 teams that won on opening day. Chorley, of course, the biggest defeat of opening day. They come up against Middlesbrough, who were able to get the win. Newcastle United against Stockport County as well. Newcastle got that big win over Merseyrail. They'll be full of confidence against the side that drew 0-0 on opening day. In the week, Chorley take on Merseyrail. That's the bottom 2 as it stands at the moment, but it could all change. And then on Wednesday, Bradford City against Barnsley, Durham Sestra take on Norton Stockton Ancients, and Leeds United face Stockport County. Division 1 South East, only 5 fixtures of course because no games for Hounslow. Wimbledon take on Queen's Park Rangers, Ashford Town face Cambridge United, Cheshire United take on London Seaward, Hashtag United face Wyndham Town, and Norwich City take on Actonians. So AC Wimbledon drawing opening day with Hashtag United of course, Norwich City against Actonians. See kind of how Actonians do after that nasty injury. Kind of might have thrown them off a bit. You never know. Cambridge United against Ashford Town. Ashford Town, of course, had that game against Hounslow postponed. Cambridge United lost on opening day. So still don't know quite how Ashford Town are going to fare this season. Hashtag United against Wyndham Town. Wyndham Town, one of the new teams that have come up. Hashtag United just missed out on promotion last season. That'll be a very tough test for Wyndham Town. In the week then, Actonians against Queen's Park Rangers and Wyndham Town against Norwich City are on Tuesday. Ashford Town against AFC Wimbledon and Cambridge City against Cambridge United. We've got the Cambridge Derby early this year. They are both on Wednesday. Division 1 South West then finally. AFC Austell against Cardiff City. Keynsham Town against Chelsea. Moneyfields take on Exeter City. Portishead host AFC Bournemouth, and Swindon Town will face Larkhall Athletic. So tough game, opening game for AFC St Austell against Cardiff City, particularly after that rampant victory for Cardiff over Portishead last weekend. Moneyfields, they open their season against Exeter City. That's going to be a tough one for those as well. Exeter City, of course, 7 past Keynsham Town last weekend. Obviously no game for Maidenhead United and no game for side they would have been facing, which is Southampton women, and Swindon Town against Larkhall Athletic, two sides that lost on the opening day of the season. In the week, Division 1 South West, all games on Wednesday. You've got AFC Bournemouth against Moneyfields, Exeter City take on AFC St Austell, Larkhall Athletic faced Portishead, and Chelsea take on Southampton women. And that's what's coming up in the next 7 days in the FA Women's National League. So plenty of football to get your teeth into. And when we do the show this time next week, there will be some very different looking tables, and we'll start to get a bit of an idea about the early runners and riders for the titles this year. As I said, the determining round of the Cup is coming up. We'll look at that in more detail when in a couple of weeks' time. In fact, in 2 weeks' time, when that's going to be the set of fixtures. But say plenty of football to come up. We've got another 3 league fixtures between now and then, so there'll be plenty for me to talk about and plenty of football for you to sink your teeth into. So don't forget to support your local women's football team. Get down there where you can and keep an eye on all their Twitter, social media as well for games you can't get to, because the output from a lot of the teams is very, very good. I've been Chris Gadsby. Thank you very much for watching this week's Women's Football Chat. If you'd like to get involved with the show, there's the comment section down below on YouTube or my Twitter at Chris_Gadsby. Forget you can listen to this on the move as well with the audio version on Google, Amazon and Spotify and Castbox, so they're all on there as well if you want to listen to this on the move. But thank you very much for watching and or listening. Keep supporting your local women's football team, and goodbye.